Well, welcome to the Witten Oval. This interview was meant to be done inside, and I think in a few minutes I'll go inside, but I just thought it's such a perfect Witten Oval day, or for those of you old enough to remember the Western Oval, remember many a game here played in these sort of conditions, the rain, the wind, so I just thought I couldn't pass up the opportunity to say, remember the Western Oval as it used to be, and many a muddy afternoon seeing Dougie Hawkins and Stephen Wallace and Brian Royal down that outer wing. I'll give you a bit of a look at it, then we'll go inside. After the North Melbourne game last Saturday, I drove home lamenting the 6 goals that Majak Daw kicked and thinking to myself, God, I wish we'd drafted him. The next day, like many of you, I was just distressed to hear that during the game, Majak might have been racially abused in the outer. I spent an anxious 24 hours waiting to hear reports about this and to find out whether Bulldog fans or members were involved. Later I felt awkward about that too, because in one sense, it doesn't matter whose colours were worn by the people who may have been involved in this conduct. The fact that it happened at all demeans all of us and demeans our game. So we need to use this event as an opportunity to lift our standards. So I'll confess I was relieved to find out that the people alleged to have conducted themselves in this way were not Bulldog members. But I'm not kidding myself that it couldn't have been Bulldog members, or indeed that such an event might not involve Bulldog members sometime in the future, or in fact that it may have happened somewhere involving Bulldog members at some other part of the ground that didn't get disclosed to us last Saturday afternoon. Our fans, like every other club's fans, are a mix of people of different backgrounds, different beliefs, different cultures. We, more than most, celebrate our differences and our diversity, and it's reflective of our heartland, and we're proud of it. For this reason also, we think it's time that we made it expressly clear that being part of our club, being a Bulldog member, also has its obligations. If conduct like the sort of conduct which was reported last Saturday afternoon were sheeted home to Bulldog members, or Bulldog supporters even, it could have a serious effect on our reputation. It could have a serious effect on the way our corporate sponsors feel about us. It could have a serious effect on the way we as Bulldog members feel about the club. It could damage the fabric of the club. It could damage the way we're looked at by the AFL and the community as a whole. But more deeply than that, it may affect who we are, how we feel about who we are as a club, and the standards and the values that we aspire to for the Western Bulldogs Football Club. That's why over the next few days, we're publishing a draft code of conduct for Bulldog members on the club's website. It's a draft and it's an advisory code only, and we'd welcome your input as members into whether we should have one, and if so, what it ought to say. See, we don't want to discourage freedom of speech. We think, and I think in particular, that the sort of funny, good-natured larrikinism that's been part of the experience of being in the outer at AFL and before that VFL games for decades is part of the really rich culture of Australian football, and we don't want to discourage that. This year in particular, I can assure you that not just the members and the fans, but the president, the board, the coach, the players have all vented some fairly robust frustration at the way things have been going on the field in particular. But there is a line that shouldn't get crossed, and we want to, at this point, make it clear that we expect our members not to cross that line in the interest of the club. We want to make it clear that we expect members to know about that line and to keep it in mind that all of us in this digital age of the 24-hour news cycle represent the club in some way and have an obligation not to let it down. We're not asking you not to be critical of your president, your board, your staff, your players, your team, its direction, the football plan, the opposition, the things that generally get talked about and which make football such a part of our lives and so much fun. You'll find the draft code of ethics for members on our website. Have a look at the code of ethics. It's there as a draft. If you don't think it's appropriate, we'd like to hear from you in relation to that as well. It's there for you to give us your feedback and your thoughts. The board will take them into account when deciding whether to implement such a code on your behalf as members, and if so, what that code should contain, and what the consequences for a breach of the code might be. Gold Coast this week. Let's hope we have a better performance and get a win on the board. See you at the football soon.